Hello everyone, this is Ronnie, and this is, I guess, a video that I'm making for my music page or music stuff, and I want to make more stuff on my music page and start promoting that more. And I guess this is a kind of an introduction video to me and who I am and what I do. And I've not been as focused, to be honest, on my music. So my story goes back to as a child, really, you know, starting to get really interested in music, really obsessed with music. And I guess that's just a natural thing. Like, some people are really into music, some people aren't. And it kind of depends on who you are and everything, and maybe your situation in life, your background, or your genetics, I don't know. But I was really into music. It really affected me. And you know, as a kind of a child, and then I started to get really fascinated by the guitar as an instrument, and started to, and if ever I saw anyone with a guitar, started to get fascinated by that, and wanted to know more about that, and wanted to like play it and touch it and all that. And then eventually got a guitar, and I realized it was harder to play than I thought. I thought you just kind of made that kind of movement and amazing sounds came out, and it's not quite as easy as that, obviously. So I basically taught myself guitar for the most part, using guitar magazines that are still out, I think, today, like Total Guitar and stuff like that. I used to buy a lot of those and learned a lot from those. There wasn't obviously YouTube at the time when I was younger and things like that. Never really had a consistent teacher. Did have a teacher when I got to school, secondary school, but by that time I was already kind of fairly far down that road. But I got a little bit of good stuff from a few good teachers. And then kept going down that thing. Just music was became like the big thing for me, I guess, going into like my teenage years and everything. And I started to realize that songwriting was that was the actual difficult thing. You know, that was the truly unique, rare talent in music. And I mean writing great songs. And that there were many people that could play guitar, and learning how to play guitar really fast is just like a technical skill to do. But learning how to write a song and make amazing original songs is a seriously rare talent, and very few people. Now, there's millions of songwriters. There's millions of people who have written a song or two or whatever. There's a lot of people that are professional songwriters, all that kind of stuff. There is so few people that consistently write good songs, like really good songs, not okay songs. There's lots of people that write okay songs, but consistently writing amazing songs. We'll just have a look, like how many bands can you indicate to that have had a really consistent, that made albums that were like consistently good songs? None of, like, very few of even the major bands, very few of the major artists can point to like a back catalogue, a really solid back catalogue. You know, it's like that phrase about all killer, no filler. Most albums are just full of filler, you know, and there's very few out of the millions and millions that have tried that have had consistency. So I was interested in like going and trying to become a really great songwriter, and I realized that the difference between a good band and a bad band has nothing to do with their style, the type of guitars they had, and there's loads of musicians that spend loads of money on the guitars, waste of time. The quality of the recording, waste of time. Well, not total waste of time, but without a good song, it's pointless. You know, the stage presence, all that crap. Like, they focused on all this stuff. Without a song, you get nowhere. Now, without exposure, promotion, marketing, you also get nowhere. But it's really the song, the product, you know, the actual product that is the song, that is where everything starts. So the songwriter was the special part of the whole equation, and the kind of the most respected part of the whole deal. And I realized that it was the songs, it was the songwriter. That's what made one band amazing and another not. And then when I started to go into songwriting and learn more about that, and started to play other people's songs and started to look more deeply into it, eventually I started to realise, wait, it's the melody. The melody is the important part here. And then I realised it was the hook for like pop songs and stuff. It's the hook. Whatever the hook is, that is the important part of the whole thing. You know, that chorus, that hook, that chorus melody is everything. And then you can even break melodies down into like little motifs and things like that. And so I just realised that's the thing to focus on, and everything else, every other aspect of music is really just a supporting role to the melody, glorifying the melody as much as possible. The melody is the thing that really affects and influences people, you know. So I realised that, and I just became all about melody, all about the structure of songs as well being important. That's another part that's really important, the structure, the melody, the harmony, all of that coming together. The lyrics, I thought at one point thought that was more important, and I approached songs maybe when I was younger with like thinking about the lyrics first or the words, and I realised it's the other way around. For you to really have your songwriting take off, you have to relegate lyrics. Lyrics are not the top of the league, you know, they're down at the bottom of the league. They're not the most important thing. You obviously don't want bad lyrics or whatever, but it's not as important as the rest, like to a song being successful. And when you see people that are like, they're all about the lyrics, and they think about the lyrics a lot, like that usually means the song's not that as good a lot of the time, because great lyrics never save a bad song, but a great song doesn't need fantastic lyrics for it to be fun, enjoyable, for people to sing along and love it. It just doesn't, because it goes past lyrics, and a lot of people get stuck at words, because words are thoughts, ideas, analytical. It needs to mean something, it needs to be very clear. People get caught in that world. The words need to mean something. No. The words need to feel something. The words need to be part of the rhythm. They need to sound good, you know, but the meaning is not as important as being completely clear. Like I like things being a little bit grammatically weird in lyric writing and stuff like that. But I read a book called Sammy Cahn's, you know, songwriting dictionary, rhyming dictionary, and that really just blew my mind, because he basically said lyrics have to be singable, they need to be rhythmical, they need to rhyme perfectly, and if they don't do that, then you need to change them. And I just loved that standard, and I realised that was more important. So I started to look at lyrics from that perspective. Is it singable? Is it rhythmical? Is it rhythmically perfect? Is it rhyme perfectly? And then when I did that, it changed my perspective, and my songwriting got even better from that point on. And probably my lyrics got better, because I wasn't thinking, what does it mean and all that. For me, songwriting and art in general is about, and I think writing a pop song, which is what I like to do, it's the greatest art. It's the most, I don't know if it's the hardest. I think it probably is the hardest. By the way, I'm really against all that kind of, you know, like classical music that all sounds rubbish, like that kind of like, yeah, this is like modern art, all that postmodernism junk, you know, rubbish. It just destroyed art. It just destroyed people's connection to art. All this, like, you need to have a postgraduate degree in music in order to understand this classical piece, and no one cares about it because it sounds rubbish. Art and music is meant to go beyond intellectual ideas and thoughts and create and all that jazz. It's meant to directly hit people in the heart, and not necessarily the head. Go beyond all this stuff that we have, protecting ourselves, holding ourselves back, whatever, boundaries, whatever. Meant to go directly through all that and make a connection with people. That's what it's about. It's about making people feel great, and people feel like the world means something, and that they have a place in the world, and that other people feel the same way that they do, and making people feel together. To me, that's what art should be about. There's another thing about art which is a more functional thing, but in terms of the feeling of it, it should automatically, it should be designed and created to actually affect people. And most art does not. It is rubbish. like modern art, especially in art galleries, most of it is rubbish. No one is being trained on how to actually make things that affect people. How do we use colour, shape and all that stuff to affect the human being? So for me, pop music is a very honest form of music. It's about affecting people. It's about making people want to do something, to dance, to sing. If you can make a song that people want to sing along to, that's what you should be thinking about, to me. And most people are too much with their songwriting, their music. They are too much in their ideas of who they think they should be and how they want people to perceive them and what they want people to think about them. So I'm going to write this really smart song because I want people to think I'm smart. That's bad. That's dumbness. It's about the feeling. It's nothing about the thoughts. It's about the feeling of the music. And a lot of people don't get that. They're trying to be something. They want to project something. You need to open up. You need to be vulnerable. You need to actually show yourself. And if you're too scared to do that, then don't do it. But you also need to dig way deep inside this thing and find the inner genius inside you. And that takes digging and digging and digging and digging and trying and trying and trying and getting beyond that ego that's always wanting to be about you and actually make something about everyone, about others, you know. And that's the exciting thing about the journey of being a songwriter, that most songwriters never get anywhere near that point. Never get anywhere near that point. Because they get caught up in their own thing of what they think they should be, who they are, what they want. It's not about you. The art is trying to express through you. That energy is trying to come through you and affect the world, other people. So that's my little rant about all that. Anyway, I realised that songwriting was the thing. I just dived deep into that. And I came at it from a viewpoint of, if a song has been successful, if a band has been successful, if a songwriter has had music that millions of people have loved, there must be a reason for it, whether I like it or not. So I would like go on allmusic.com at the time, and I would go through bands and bands and bands and find new bands and that link to another band, and I'd find out about them. And I think at the time I was maybe using Napster and stuff and I just was listening to loads and loads, and I was so addicted to music. Like, I was addicted to finding great songs and to finding great bands. I was so addicted to it, and I was just doing it all the time, looking for more music. And music was like the balancing factor in my life. Like, I didn't drink, I didn't smoke, I didn't have any crutches, but it was like music was my crutch. That was what I remember I was kind of depressed at the time, but music was the thing I was kind of like on an unhealthy level sort of obsessed with and using to kind of balance out my life in a way. And then, you know, when I got to like 18 or 19, I started to actually go out into the world a bit more. I'd played in bands a little bit in school, but never really got never really got something going, and I was probably too shy. I was really quiet. I mean, I was a musician. I wanted to express. That's why I was playing music. I was expressing myself through music because I couldn't do it through words at the time. I'm better at speaking now, but at the time I was very, very shy and quiet. So I would play guitar. If I had emotional upset and things like that, I would play guitar. I'd play my music. I'd go back to songwriting, you know, and that's where I poured all my creativity and my energy into. And that's why I got good, I think, because I really put the time into it. Going forward with that, like, started to go to this open mic night and was going to this Nice and Sleazy's open mic night every week when I was from about the age of 18, 19. And there was so many songwriters there, so many musicians, and I thought that Glasgow was like a great musical city, and I wanted to stay here to try and be part of that and all that. And I don't know if it was a good decision. You know, I look back at that, it was probably a mistake in my life staying in Glasgow. I probably should have went somewhere else. But I stayed here. I went to the open mic, and I kind of thought, if I keep playing the open mic and keep getting better, maybe something will happen. Maybe I'll meet. I had no idea how to make it as a musician or what to do, or I had a dream to make it as a musician, but I had no idea how to go about it, and I had no rational thought process. I was just in the dream world of music and making music and making art, you know. And now I look back at that and I think that was probably a mistake, you know, going to just an open mic. In a way, that helped me get better, but it was also a mistake because you're actually affirming that you're kind of not worth anything. Like you're going and playing for free all the time in a way, you know. But I got into a band that wasn't. I got into a few bands and it wasn't my music, you know. I was a supporting role in the band, but I just couldn't get my own thing together. It felt like my problem was really, you know, making friendships and getting people together, and I wasn't a good leader like that. I couldn't make that happen for myself. And I tried to like get my music to other people and see if people would help me or support me, but I didn't really put in the effort. I didn't really put a lot of effort into that. I didn't really have recordings and good recordings and stuff. And some people, like, I didn't put enough into that kind of thing and getting my music heard, and I just kind of thought it would all happen, you know. And I think we all have that magical idea sold to us that musicians make it because they just randomly get heard at some point, and the word just gets out and all. It's like, it doesn't really happen like that, but that's the kind of stories that we hear in the music press and stuff. So I was in a band and it got kind of serious, and we started to play a lot of gigs, play all over the country, and I just started to realise more and more, like, people in the music industry and the music, like, they weren't really into music, like, they didn't really care. And the other songwriters I met, like, they didn't really care about it. They didn't, and a lot of them don't write music anymore. It's not really a part of them, you know. It was maybe for a short time in their life, but they were always looking for something else, you know. They always had another thing in mind. The other side of it was total delusional people that were still in their, like, you know, the age that I am now, and hadn't done anything else with their life really, and they were still waiting for music to happen for them, and they were like unemployed and they weren't doing anything, and like that. I didn't want to be that, and I realized that this is the delusion that a lot of people have, that it's just going to happen at some point. So anyway, I was in this band, we were playing a lot all over the country. We were always on the verge of maybe something's going to happen, and it never happened, and the band fell apart, and it wasn't my music anyway, and you know, if it had been my music, it probably would have got a lot further, but it didn't really get far, and I was just like kind of sick of the whole thing, you know, the whole industry and the people, and just it just annoyed me, you know. And I kind of fell out a little bit with music and got away from it a little bit and stayed, and I just thought, this hasn't really worked out for me, you know, and kind of gave up for a while and all that, and went a whole different route in my life, and it's, you know, and I got into, started doing things for my health and going towards a raw vegan diet, and I went to different festivals, and all of a sudden people were asking me, like friends were asking me to play music and stuff, and then that got my confidence back, and I realized, wait, I'm really good at this. You know, like I'm really super good at this. So I eventually got my album recorded, and I don't know where it's going to go. Like, the music industry is a bit weird. It's like you can't really sell your music that, you can sell your music a bit, but you know, it's a bit weird doing it in a way. and I'm just here to play and get all my music recorded and get it out there, and, you know, build a following or whatever. And I just know I know my stuff's so good, you know. And the problem is every musician thinks that. They all think they're amazing, but I know I'm great, you know. So I'm just gonna keep going, put stuff out on YouTube. Thank you for following me, if you are following me, or Facebook or whatever. And yeah, I don't know, my videos are going to be some music, some chats, talking about music, jamming a little bit, and we'll see where it goes from there. So thank you very much. I know that wasn't a total in-depth story about my whole journey, but I'm sure you're not that interested in it. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in another video.